Dana, thanks for being here. As we've said several times since the announcement that your team is coming, this is the beginning of a new era for us at the AutoZone Liberty Bowl. First year of our SEC Big 12 matchup, and we're proud that you and your football team are our first Big 12 representatives. If you'll open up with comments about how bowl week has been for you and your team here in Memphis, and then comments about the game tomorrow.
You got it. Thank you, Harold. I can tell you've been in media.
Once or twice.
Yes, I can tell you've done that before. Okay, yeah, this is our fourth day here in Memphis. The bowl's been great. Everything that we hoped it would be. You can tell that the Liberty Bowl has done this before. Clearly, they've done it 54 years. 56 years. Any time a bowl has that much experience, you know that you're going to get things done the right way. City of Memphis has been great. Our kids have had a great time here. Going downtown, eating barbecue, going to a Grizzlies game. Just walking around and seeing the sights. Went to the Civil Rights Museum, which they thought that was obviously a pretty interesting deal. Memphis University School has been great for us. It's just right around the corner right here. The one thing, logistically everything's been on par, which is a pleasant surprise. Not a surprise, but it's something that makes things a lot easier in a bowl. 2 years ago it was pretty tough to get anything done. But now, here we're able to get done everything that we needed to get done. We've had 4 good days of practice. All 4 days we were outside. We were dressed out, going hard, going full speed. Was fairly prepared to play this game a week ago because of how much good work that we had in Morgantown. And then when we came here, we repeated everything. So our guys are in a good place. They're in a good spot, and they've had a great time. We shut things down last night and had a good day of preparation today. Go to a movie tonight, have some meetings, put them to bed, wake up and play the game. So I really like where we're at and really appreciate everything that's happened up until this point. So with that, take some questions.
If you'll identify yourself and your organization when you ask your question, please.
Rich, go ahead, Ed. Come on, man. You're always first.
I didn't want to be the first this time. All right, I will. From what Kevin was saying earlier, it's not on the quarterbacks. You guys are both playing young quarterbacks, but it's really about other people stepping up and helping those guys out. Can you talk about the conversations you've had with Skylar as he really makes the biggest start in his career?
He's handled it. We had the best Friday practice we've had all year today. And Kevin's right about that. I mean, we got both two young, talented quarterbacks that don't have a lot of experience that I think both of them will. If you look back at his last start, Skylar should show a bunch of improvement. Kyle Allen's going to be a good young player. From the time that he played his last game against LSU or Missouri, one of those two, I think it was LSU, until the next game tomorrow, he's going to show a lot of improvement as well. 2 young kids that are taking advantage of this entire month to be able to practice and prep. It's going to be fun to see what kind of improvement both those kids are going to make. And I think both of them have a bright future and will continue to improve down the road. With that said, those guys, the quarterback spot's important and instrumental in having success, but everybody around them has to do their part as well. So I do agree with that, but with that said, anxious to see what kind of improvement both of them have made.
What kind of improvement do you hope this game can act as a springboard going forward, especially the opportunity for another win this season?
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the things with going to a bowl game that you can say, well, developmental practices and all that stuff's great, but an extra game is unbelievable. Just being able to spend as much time as we spent with our guys is great. Both Texas A&M and West Virginia have a lot of kids coming back for next year. So, it's going to be something that's going to be interesting to keep our eye on, all these guys coming back. Being able to play another game. I think we got 9 starters on defense coming back, and we're going to have about 7 on offense coming back. So that's a lot of guys that are able to play a 13th game that we can continue to evaluate those guys, and they can continue to show improvement. So Getting a win here would definitely springboard us into next year, and right frame of mind.
Then you seem really pleased with where the team is now. Was there a danger that they peaked a few days ago, or do you think they're peaking at the right time?
No, I didn't, because we gave them time off. We practiced for a whole week in Morgantown. We did a whole game prep week. We lost a little focus at the end because they knew they weren't playing, and they knew they were going to have some time off. So we gave them four days off. I think that's the right way to do it, especially because we got so many kids that are from Florida, Texas, Georgia, North Carolina. We've got a lot of kids that aren't from West Virginia. So I wanted to get them home so where they can spend time with their friends and their family, wake up on Christmas Day, and then come to Memphis, not have to go back to Morgantown, but just come to Memphis. So it worked out logistically pretty good. My concern was speed of the game and timing. And we went out there and practiced 4 days in a row, and I've been happy with the work that we've got. So I think we're exactly where we need to be able to play this game.
What are some of the things that you've seen from Skylar in the last month that maybe, because he wasn't playing as much, you didn't see as much of?
Confidence. I mean, he tries so hard. I mean, I don't know if I've ever been around a kid that it means more to him. I mean, he's a perfectionist. Everybody wants to be good. Everybody wants to win, but he really does live it. And he was not having success. He was frustrated. This goes back for the last 11 months because he's been on our campus for 12 months now. For the first 11 months, I mean, he wasn't getting as many reps as he wanted, and he wasn't having the success that he wanted, so his confidence was down. Once he went into the game against Kansas State and drove us down and scored, his confidence got better. And then he got more reps, and then he continued to do some good things and continue to gain confidence, and keeps getting better every day. And I think a lot of that has to do, one, with the reps, and two, with the confidence that he's playing with.
Does that go for your confidence in him as well? One of the stories Mark was telling yesterday was that first drive against Kansas State where they were trying to get him to check out a bit. He says, "Trust me," and then throws a touchdown pass.
Yeah, 100%. You don't know how guys are going to do until they get in there and play. And now his junior college coach told us the same thing. The same thing happened to him out at Riverside. He was on the bench for the first game. Halftime of the second game, they didn't really know how he was going to respond. They put him in there, and then he ended up just taking it and running with it, and won, I think, 11 straight games after that. So, with us, when Clint went down at halftime against Kansas State, I said, we were losing 21-3 at that point anyway. So I was like, geez, maybe he'll give us a spark. And he went in there and he gave us a spark. So everybody was kind of like, well, we'll see how this goes. Just because he's never been in that situation before, but he was bright-eyed and he was in tune, and he was ready to take it, and he did, and we showed some improvement once he did.
Steve regarding the Associated Press, I'm just wondering if you could just talk about what sticks out in your memory from this couple of years you spent with Kevin at Houston, and just what's your relationship been like since y'all have been in different schools?
Yeah, it's been good. It was hard for me to leave Houston. I loved it there. I loved working for Kevin. Our working relationship was great. I learned a lot about being a head coach from working with him, especially from the CEO aspect of things. Kevin's never going to spend a high percentage of the time on just one side of the ball. I mean, he's going to divvy it up and recruit his tail off, which they've been recruiting at a very high level for the last 3 years at Texas A&M. He's going to do a great job with the boosters. He's going to oversee what's happening on special teams, offense, defense, coaching staff wise. I mean, he's a true true CEO of a program. And so I learned a lot of that stuff from him. But didn't really want to leave just because our working relationship was so good. Left to go to Oklahoma State just because I saw an opportunity. And obviously, it paid off for me. So we've always remained friends, and we'll hate each other for about 3 hours, and then after the game, probably give him a big hug and go about it. Owe him a lot. He was instrumental in me getting this job at West Virginia. You know, he's the one thing I did want to mention is, and I've already thanked him endlessly for this, but he talked to Oliver Luck, his relationship with Oliver Luck, because of when Oliver was at the Houston Dynamo, Kevin was at the University of Houston. So them two had a pretty good relationship, and he talked to Oliver and called me and says, "You owe me one." So I guess I still owe him one.
John Wilson with KBTX TV. Along those lines, what will it be like tomorrow to look across and see him on the other sideline and Jake too?
Oh, I could care less, to be honest with you. I mean, there's so many relationships in this game. You know, I mean, as soon as I find out we were playing Texas A&M, I mean, the phones were going back and forth to me and Kevin and me and Jake and all that. So it's neat. This week's been neat, bumping into them and being able to spend time with them. But you know, he said the same thing 2 years ago. His first year at Texas A&M, he looked across the sideline at his former boss, Bob Stoops. You know, so I've looked at Mike Leach over there on the sideline. I've looked at Mike Gundy over there on the sideline. I mean, it happens quite often in college football. Once that handshake's over before the game, you ignore what's going on over on that other sideline. So it is what it is. It's not the last time it's going to happen.
Dana, once Clint was ruled out, you know, what kind of role has he had in the team, and how did you talk with him and try to help him get through the process of his career's done?
Well, I mean, he's realistic. You know, I mean, he knew this was going to come to an end, you know, probably pretty quick. So the fact that we got 10.5 games out of him is big. You know, just going through what he went through last year. We went through the same thing last year. He worked his tail off to get him in as good a shape as he possibly could. And this is no secret to anybody. You can see him deteriorate throughout the course of the season. It's just it's what his body makeup is. So he's been preparing himself for this. He knew it was going to come to an end at some point, and knew the coaching career was going to get started pretty quickly. You know, he's not a coach for us right now. I mean, he's a player. He's a teammate. He's a team captain. He's a starting quarterback. I mean, that role has remained the same. You know, he's a great teammate. You know, he's been good for Skyler because he can stand out there. And I don't need Clint's information because I got Shannon's information and Ron's and J1's and Lonnie's. I mean, that's my information. Where Clint's good is Clint's out there and he's been in Skyler's shoes and he can stand behind him and see things and they can talk. And so when Skyler comes to the sidelines, he's going to have a pretty good sounding board on the sideline to be able to, you know, discuss what happened and discuss what they got to do to go out and be successful.
With all the improvements you guys have made defensively this year, what's the one area you're happiest with on the defensive side?
Our secondary, you know, Coach Mitchell and Coach DeForest both have done a tremendous job of those guys getting better. You know, obviously the number one thing is Tony Gibson in the scheme and how he calls it and the confidence that he gives our players. The one area that's been fun to watch mature, and it's pretty cool because we're going to have all those guys back next year, but Darryl Worley getting better and KJ Dillon becoming just an absolute terror out there. Carl Joseph is what Carl is, and you know, Draymond Henry gets better each and every week. Chestnut may have had quietly the best year of all of them. So we get all those guys coming back, and those guys have done a good job coaching them. And, you know, but obviously Tony Gibson is where it begins and it ends with him. And you know, obviously glad to have him locked up for the next 3 years. And I would venture to say that as much improvement as we made this year, I would expect the same improvement heading into next year. Jared Barber's been a great coach on the sidelines as well. You know, you lose Wes Tonker and you plug in Jared Barber. I mean, that's a pretty good situation.
Dana, playing the number of guys you played and practiced with for the Iowa State game on the offensive line, what has that done for the workouts leading up to this, just for that group?
It's allowed some of these guys to get healthy. You know, Quentin Spain's 100%, which he didn't even play against Iowa State. You know, Tony Matteo was able to gain experience and gain some confidence. He's going to be the next one in. You know, but the biggest thing is with those old linemen, I mean, they played so many snaps. Adam Pankey played the most snaps of anybody on the football team. And he's a sophomore tackle. I mean, that's tough. So those guys were able to regroup and get healthy and be fresh. And then you know, Russell Houghton James and Grant Lingelfelter and Stone Underwood, those guys were able to take a lot of reps in practice to continue to develop and continue to improve.
Danny, during the Christmas break, did you talk to your offensive coordinator situation? Would you even promote from within?
Yeah, I don't know what I'm going to do yet. You know, we've had a great week of practice. I really appreciate Shannon and everything that he's done. He's been great to have here at the bowl game, been coaching hard, and you know, after the game's over, we'll give him a big hug and wish him success in his next venture. You know, you got to evaluate the whole coaching staff, which I do afterwards. I got 2 weeks to do that prior to going to the convention. You know, may use the convention as figuring out who the next coach is. You know, once I decide how I'm going to shuffle things around. So I would venture to say everything's a possibility at this point.
Talked about how Clint's going to be a heck of a coach one day. What is it about just his qualities that obviously are the family coaching connections, but what do you see, why do you think of him as a potential solid coach?
He's been around it forever. You know, I mean, Rick Trickett, his dad at Florida State's a great guy, a great football coach, and most everybody here knows him, and he does such a great job with everything. And Clint's the same guy. He's been around it his whole life. And so he understands the game of football. He understands what coaches go through. He understands how to communicate with kids. He's a smart kid. You know, he's got the knowledge, to be able to think and react and understand the game. So he's gonna be fine. You know, I mean, he needs to figure out where he wants to be and what path he wants to take. But he's gonna have some options to be able to choose from.
Anyone else? Danny, going back to what we touched on last night, we went through this with Kevin, the Memphis questions that we've got to ask all visitors. So for equal time, we did this with Kevin before. The Elvis question, young or old?
I was born when he wasn't born yet. I gotta get to Graceland. That's why I'm going to stay in town for a day or two. You know, so maybe you can take me over there and educate me a little bit.
The ribs, because it is about the food and the music here. Wet or dry ribs?
Dry ribs for sure.
Anyone in particular?
Well, that's the other thing. You know, I'm going to get to a couple of these other places here in the next few days.
Good enough.
Okay.
Did you have another question? Okay. Dana, thank you. Good luck to your football team.
Appreciate it.